Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Chelsea Wolfe album, Pain is Beauty. Chelsea Wolfe is a California singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, and darkened songstress of the seventh circle. And she initially caught my ear back in 2011 with this album over here, Apocalypsis. And that album is really difficult to put in a nutshell because Chelsea Wolfe does not really stay in one spot sonically on this LP. Really the only common threads throughout that album are her very beautiful voice, which is slathered in reverb, off in the distance, but has some incredible range and passion to it, and the generally dark, depressive, and just shadowy, occult vibe that her music brings to the table. There were elements of rock music on there, experimental music, some folk music as well, sludge metal, a bit of noise, black metal, especially with the retching vocals at the start of this thing. And while her influences may be a little obvious, artists like PJ Harvey, some Sonic Youth, a little bit of Radiohead as well, some Swans too. She, in my opinion, brings them very successfully into her world and just blends them into her darkness so that they don't really feel like she's pulling directly from them at any given time. You're just not deafened by the reminder that she sounds like A, B, C, and D. And as far as the production aesthetic that she goes for, while I don't really care for reverb to be overused much of the time, and Chelsea does lay it on in a way where her songs do feel cavernous, I feel like her melodies, her vocals, and just her very sharp and kind of at times noisy instrumentation really cut through this reverb and connect with me in a very intimate way, even though it all feels kind of like it's hanging out in this very black, pitch black abyss. And because she's a little unpredictable, because she really kind of stretches out on her albums, I was excited to hear where she would go next. Would she come through with a more uniform sound, or would she kind of try to reach out more? And essentially, Chelsea's answer to this was reach out more, coming through with songs that have some electronics in them, actually. Tracks like The Warden, one of the songs to drop before the release of this album, which is essentially some really gothic, moody synthesizer pop. The throbbing electronics and what sounds kind of like a sampled acoustic guitar on this track are very pretty. I didn't really care for Chelsea's vocals on this song because they didn't really feel as intense as I expect her vocals to be, but I did really like the creepy and kind of subtle, sad, melancholy tune that this track had to offer. And the song Destruction Makes the World Burn Brighter, while I do like the very just sour and kind of dark guitar interludes happening in between the verses, as soon as this song hits, it kind of feels like Chelsea is embracing a little bit of beach rock or garage rock, kind of in that bleached, Best Coast, Vivian Girls, Frankie Rose sort of vein. Again, a track that I'm not all too crazy about the vocals, especially the vocal melody, which to me is just way too sleepy, just not that memorable. Really one of the reasons I don't care for a lot of artists who shoot for this sound. A couple tracks on the first half of this thing are a bust, sure. However, there are a lot of highlights too. The song Feral Love that kicks this album off. More throbbing electronics, just like The Warden, but way more intense and heavy, especially toward the back end of the song, where Chelsea is layering on just piles and piles of arranged instrumentation and just really chilling sounds. I feel like that acoustic album she came out with before the release of this has really refined that element of extra instrumentation incorporation. Though the beginning of this track is a little repetitive, the ending of it is so climactic and just so worth it. And if there is a single vibe or idea that you can boil a lot of the tracks on this album down to, it's that. On this LP, Chelsea delivers a lot of slow burning and building songs that you may or may not get impatient with before the point they actually blossom in a pretty depressive fashion. The song We Hit a Wall towards its finish has these intense string sections. The track House of Metal, which kicks off with a drum machine, ends with this really eerie, plinky melody and some wispy strings too. A huge atmosphere on this track, and while these tracks are great, it's really the second half of Pain is Beauty where I feel like Chelsea kind of lights the world on fire. Songs like Sick are a total surprise. They start off huge instrumentally with some really twisted vocal effects on Chelsea's singing, and then around the middle point of the track, it introduces some space into the atmosphere, and then Chelsea is singing against what feels like some progressive synth instrumental with these arpeggiated ascending and descending synth lines. Chelsea's layering of instrumentation is definitely more impressive here than it was on her last full length, and on top of that, her exploration into other sounds and musical ideas and genres for the most part are successful. I would say that this album has all of the great points that her last full length did, except it's a little more refined and well assembled. For sure, Pain is Beauty is not as ferocious or as scary, as sharp-toothed as Apocalypsis, but Chelsea still brings good songs to the table and a ton of sonic variety, like the very tense and uncomfortable track Kings, or the delicate song Rains with this 3/4 time signature and some beautiful backing instrumentation, or the very folky and kind of PJ Harvey inspired They'll Clap When You're Gone. As far as downsides on this thing go, yeah, there were some tracks that, again, I wasn't too crazy about, and there are other tracks too that I feel like meet somewhat abrupt endings, but man, are there moments on this thing instrumentally I feel like are so freaking beautiful that it's like I'm watching some kind of just moving scene in a movie or something. Just really emotionally, instrumentally, melodically, and sonically intense. I'm just loving this album. It's just a beautifully depressive listen. I'm feeling a decent 8 on this thing. I hope you give it a listen. Don't let the variety throw you off, and just see if it grows on you. Transition. If you've given this Chelsea Wolfe album a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? And that's it. Anthony Fantano, Only the Strong Subscribe, Pain is Beauty, forever.